The tables turned, and now they're eating the meal they cooked for you. They didn't just dig a grave, they fell in head first while watching you from the edge. Welcome back, my dear chosen ones. Come closer. This isn't just a message, it's confirmation. You've been feeling something in your gut, haven't you? Like a shift in the air. A strange stillness surrounding someone who once moved through your life with way too much noise. Well, you weren't wrong. One of your enemies is sick. Not metaphor sick, not a cold or a cough. No, they're unraveling, quietly, painfully. And the best part? They're hiding it. You don't need a front row seat to their downfall, because their downfall is happening whether you're watching or not. And before you start to wonder, is this wrong to feel? Let me stop you right there. This isn't about revenge. This is about reality. This is about finally seeing the cost of being the villain in someone else's story, yours. This is about watching life balance the scales without you lifting a finger. Before we dive even deeper, chosen ones, take a second to show love back. If this message is hitting your spirit, if it's confirming what you've been feeling but couldn't put into words, support the movement. Like this video, subscribe to the channel and turn on that bell so you never miss another drop of raw, real, and life-shifting truth. Your support fuels the fire and keeps this space alive, a place where we don't just speak power, we live in it. Let's grow together, let's stay lit, let's stay rising. See, chosen ones, they thought hurting you came with no receipt, but energy doesn't work like that. What you send out always loops back. They served you betrayal with a smile, sabotage with a side of fake concern, and now the meal's being served back to them, poisoned with their own ingredients. The bitterness they tried to infect you with, it's curdling in their own bloodstream now. You've probably asked yourself, why do I attract people like this? Let me tell you why. Because light doesn't just attract admiration, it also attracts moths. Your power makes people curious, jealous, unsettled. Your peace threatens the chaos they worship. So instead of elevating themselves, they tried to dismantle you. But here's what they didn't know. You weren't just built different. You were built protected. They thought they were untouchable, didn't they? They walked around like karma only applies to people without a good filter and a confident smirk. But energy doesn't care about your followers, your friends, or your staged happiness. Energy sees intent, and this person's intent was filthy. They didn't just cross the line, they painted over it, danced on it, and dared the consequences to show up. And now, the consequences are here. They just don't come with thunder. They come with doctor's appointments, with symptoms that make no sense, with test results that whisper, something's off, but never quite tell the full story. Because the story isn't just physical, it's psychological, emotional, spiritual. The breakdown started the day they aimed harm at someone who never asked for war. You didn't provoke, you didn't attack, you simply existed, and that alone triggered them. Your glow activated their shadows. Your growth reminded them of everything they refused to become. So they chose the easy route, destroy what they couldn't mirror. But here's the plot twist. You were never their opponent. You were their reflection. And when they chose to project their poison onto you, they signed a contract with the very energy that's now breaking them down. Don't get it twisted. Their silence right now, that's not peace. That's shame. That's fear, dressed in neutral tones, pretending everything's fine. They won't talk about the late-night panic, the mysterious fatigue, the appointments piling up. They won't tell anyone how their body is turning into a traitor. But you know, you feel it, because your soul told you long before the symptoms showed up. My dear chosen ones, you don't need to wish them harm. You don't need to celebrate their sickness. Just understand, this is what it looks like when the universe cleans up a mess you never made. This is what it looks like when someone tries to tamper with alignment and ends up misaligning their own life in the process. And now they're out here, pretending their skin still glows, pretending their confidence isn't cracking, pretending that nothing's wrong while everything inside them is screaming. They played a dangerous game with your energy. They thought silence was immunity. But silence doesn't protect you when the harm was loud. And baby, their harm was thunder. Let this moment remind you who you are. You were never weak for walking away. You were never soft for not clapping back. Your silence wasn't surrender, it was strategy. And now, as they fall apart behind closed doors, you rise, you heal, you evolve, not because they lost, but because you refuse to. You're not just watching karma, you're watching the echo of your strength bounce back in the form of consequences they thought they were immune to. And while they're busy masking the collapse, you're building in peace. Because you don't need to fake it, you live it. You embody the recovery they never believed you'd have. So walk tall, chosen one. Their downfall isn't your celebration, it's your validation. And no, this isn't about revenge. This is about reality. What goes around doesn't just come back, it returns with interest. And right now, the interest is costing them everything they once used to mock your pain. Stay tuned, because we're just getting started. And to every real one watching, yes, you, the chosen one hiding behind that screen but glowing with quiet power, this message is for you. If you've ever felt like something was off with someone who once came for you, you were right. Their silence, their absence, their sudden fade. It's not random. It's revelation. So if this truth is already piercing through the fog, do what chosen ones do. Stand tall in it. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and if you're feeling that confirmation in your gut, drop a 777 in the comments, because alignment doesn't lie. Show some love through super thanks if this content is feeding your fire. Now lean in, because we're about to break it down step by step. And believe me, if you're truly chosen, what you're about to hear is going to hit like a mirror. Only the chosen feel this shift. The rest, they just scroll past it. Let's get into it. Number 1. When the body breaks down, it's just echoing what the soul's been screaming. They tried to poison you, but ended up drinking it themselves. You don't always see karma hit. Sometimes it shows up as a slow sickness in someone who used to smile while stabbing you. My dear chosen ones, let's get one thing clear. What they're going through right now isn't just some mystery illness. It's not just random fatigue or strange health complications. It's the fallout of energy backfiring in real time. They tried to infect your peace, your mind, your flow, and now it's their own system that's shutting down. This isn't coincidence, it's consequence. You may be wondering, why now? Why them? Why like this? Because when you mess with certain people, it's not a scuffle, it's a trigger. And chosen ones, that's you. You're not average. Your energy isn't casual. You walk with something rare, a presence that amplifies what others try to hide. And when someone directs harm at you, especially in secret, that energy doesn't disappear. It circles back, not with fireworks, but with fatigue, with inflammation, with insomnia, with chronic tension no prescription can explain. Let's be blunt. They didn't just lie on your name. They bet their own stability trying to disrupt yours. Every word they whispered in private, every shady move behind closed doors, every smear, every manipulation, it all had a cost. And that cost is now showing up in their body like a ticking time bomb they can't defuse. But of course they won't show that. They're still curating perfect pictures, still pushing the illusion, still pretending they're thriving, but their body's leaking the truth. And you, chosen one, are the reason it's happening. You didn't curse them, you didn't retaliate, you didn't need to, you just kept moving forward. And that alone triggered the collapse. Because what they didn't count on was that your silence would speak louder than any confrontation. That your healing would turn into their mirror. that your distance would echo louder than the war they tried to start. They're not just sick, they're decomposing, internally, energetically, emotionally. And every smile they force, every "I'm fine" they offer, is a thin layer of denial stretched over a truth that's rotting from the inside. You might not see the symptoms on the surface, but it's happening. Behind every selfie is another unexplained pain. Behind every status update is another test result that doesn't make sense. Behind the mask is a body breaking down from energy it tried to weaponize. And the wildest part? This didn't have to happen. This wasn't fate. It wasn't bad luck. It was self-inflicted. You were the target, but the arrow boomeranged. They were so focused on seeing you suffer, they never realized they were crafting their own downfall. And now? Now they're living with it. Every ache, every late-night panic, every unanswered diagnosis. It's all a receipt. Not spiritual, not mystical, just pure, raw consequence. You might be asking yourself, but why does it matter now? Because chosen ones, you've been questioning if walking away was enough. You've wondered if they ever faced what they did. You've asked if justice would ever show up. And now you have your answer. It showed up in silence, in slow, irreversible patterns, in truths that no one else can see but they can't unfeel. They're haunted, not by ghosts, but by their own body betraying them. That's the thing about targeting someone who's built on truth. You end up triggering your own lie to collapse. They thought they could mess with your energy and walk away untouched. They thought fake apologies, manipulation, or public silence would shield them. But energy doesn't care about performance. Energy reads intent, and theirs was dark. So now they live with it. They may still walk around pretending they've moved on, but the symptoms won't let them. The body remembers. And every cough, every chest tightness, every unexplained tension in their jaw or pressure behind their eyes, it's not just medical, it's energetic residue. They tried to drain you. Now they're stuck carrying what they tried to throw at you. And you? You're the proof it didn't work. Your growth is their collapse. Your glow is their exposure. They're falling apart while you're putting yourself back together, and they can't stand it. Not because they care about you, but because your recovery is a constant reminder of the damage they caused and the price they're now paying. Chosen one, let this be your motivation, not to gloat but to rise. You didn't have to get revenge. You didn't have to explain yourself. You didn't have to stoop to their level. All you had to do was stay aligned, and now the energy is doing what it always does, balancing itself, quietly, powerfully, unmistakably. So keep going, keep healing, keep growing. Their sickness isn't your responsibility, it's just the echo of their own choices. You were the lesson, and now they're stuck in the exam, failing one symptom at a time. Number 2. The smile is a mask, but the cracks always leak the truth. They built the perfect mask, but the cracks are screaming louder than their smile. They wore confidence like a crown, but now that crown is splitting, and it's made of glass. My dear chosen ones, if you've ever looked at someone who once played strong, slick, and untouchable, and thought, how are they still standing after everything they did? This is your confirmation. They're not standing. Not really. They're just performing. You're watching a highlight reel of a breakdown in disguise. They've perfected the mask, but the truth underneath, it's screaming. Let's be real. Some people are better actors than professionals in Hollywood. They can post selfies that say, peace, while their mind is unraveling in the background. They'll enter a room like they own it, while their health is quietly betraying them behind the scenes. But energy doesn't lie, and neither does the body. It always tells the truth before the mouth ever will. They're sick, chosen ones, but they'll never tell. Because admitting that they're sick would mean admitting they're not okay. And worse, admitting they helped cause their own condition by projecting poison onto you. That's a confession their ego will never allow. So they'll do what they do best, pretend. They didn't just hurt you, They turned deception into a lifestyle, built a whole identity around being the one who won, while plotting behind your back like a coward with a smile. They smiled in your face while grinding their teeth at your success. They didn't just fake happiness, they faked virtue. They performed morality while manufacturing manipulation. And now that the consequences are tapping on their body from the inside, they're scrambling to keep up the illusion. But here's the kicker. Their mask is heavier now. Why? Because it's covering something that doesn't want to be hidden anymore. Their body is tired of carrying secrets. Their nerves are frayed from all the suppression. That fake confidence. It's cracking under the pressure of reality. The illness isn't just physical. It's emotional collapse wearing makeup and filters. And it's all rooted in this. Exposure terrifies them more than pain. You, chosen one, you already faced your breakdown. You sat in your shadow, owned your truth, cried the tears, did the healing. That's why you're free. But them, they'd rather collapse behind closed doors than let the world see them bleed. They're terrified of looking weak, especially after using your pain to make themselves look powerful. This is the kind of person who laughed when you were low, who whispered about your struggle and used your silence as a punchline. They needed to be seen as the one who moved on, the one who glowed up, the one who was always right. So now that their health is failing, their spirit is draining, and the performance is exhausting, what do? Double down. They laugh louder, pose harder, overcompensate with energy they don't even have. But the eyes don't lie. Their photos may look filtered, but the tension in their jaw, the emptiness in their stare, the forced nature of every smile, it's obvious to anyone paying real attention. And trust me, chosen one, they know you see it, and that kills them. Because their identity was built on the illusion that you were broken and they were whole, that you were weak and they were thriving, that your breakdown was proof of their superiority. Now look, the roles have reversed, but not in a dramatic crash. In the slow, silent, haunting way that life balances energy. They're disintegrating piece by piece, not publicly, but privately, and that's even worse. Here's what they'll never tell anyone. Their body isn't bouncing back the way it used to. Their mind feels cloudy, scattered, overrun with thoughts they can't control. They cancel plans more than they keep them. They sleep but wake up tired. They smile but feel nothing. And the worst part? They can't say a word. Because saying "I'm not okay" would mean revealing the truth they buried when they hurt you. And they can't handle that kind of exposure, so they suffer in silence, not because no one's there to help, but because their pride would rather die in private than heal in honesty. Chosen one, take this as confirmation. You don't need to see their downfall to know it's real. You are their exposure. Every time you show up, healed, grounded and glowing, you're peeling back the layers of their false identity. You're the proof they can't escape. The mirror that reveals what they tried to hide. And no matter how perfect they try to appear, energy has a way of leaking through the cracks. Their sickness is their guilt with a physical address. It's not just in their body, it's written in their silence. And silence, my dear chosen one, always tells on the ones who swore they got away clean. Stay alert, stay grounded. You don't need revenge. Truth has already checked in, and it's living rent-free inside the one who thought hurting you came without a cost. Number 3. They thrived off your chaos. Now they're starving in your silence. They starved themselves, trying to feed off you. They weren't addicted to love. They were addicted to control, and your pain was their favorite drug. My dear chosen ones, let's break this wide open. They were never really strong. They just knew how to siphon strength from you. Every time you cried, flinched, argued, spiraled, or begged for clarity, you were unknowingly handing over power, and they were eating it up like it was their lifeline, not because they loved you, not because they cared, but because feeding off your pain was the only thing that made them feel alive. They never needed peace. That was never the goal. They needed chaos. Your chaos. That's the part most people miss. They weren't looking for harmony, they were hunting for vulnerability. They couldn't stand being irrelevant, so they made sure to poke you, push you, trigger you. Why? Because your emotional reactions validated their false sense of importance. They weren't healing, they were hijacking your energy just to function. Every fight, fuel, every tear, a meal, every confused conversation where you were trying to understand what went wrong, dessert. You were the power source. You were the battery behind their false calm, their fake superiority, their performance of confidence. And the moment you stopped reacting, that power cut off. They didn't lose you. They lost access. And trust me, there's a difference. Now they're starving. Quietly. Secretly. And yes, it's showing. In their health. In their face. In their energy. Because the drama they once used to stay energized is gone. And what's left behind is the truth. They don't know how to survive on their own energy because it was never real to begin with. They need a host, and you were the last one to keep them fed. This isn't about love. Don't confuse it. If they missed you, they'd own what they did. They'd apologize. They'd grow. But they're not doing that. Because it's not you they crave. It's the control they lost. It's the thrill of seeing you off balance. The ego boost of watching you fall apart while they kept a cold smile. That twisted satisfaction of watching your pain was never affection. It was addiction. And now the supply has been cut. And chosen one, let's talk about your silence. That silence, that wasn't weakness, that was power. That was the moment the feeding tube snapped. That was the shutdown they didn't see coming. Because they thought your reactions meant they still mattered. But you pulled the plug, not with a bang, but with stillness. And that stillness is now suffocating them. They thought you disappeared, but you didn't. You disconnected. And that hit harder than any confrontation ever could. Because now, without you reacting, there's nothing left to feed on. Their ego is collapsing. Their health is declining. Their emotions are unraveling. Why? Because they're finally sitting in a room with themselves. No mirrors, no distractions, no energy to leech. Just them, and the emptiness they tried to cover up by feeding off yours. People around them may still see the filtered version, the curated confidence, the posts, the loud laughter. But you, chosen one, you feel what they're hiding. Their sickness isn't just physical, it's energetic starvation. Their body is catching up to the emotional rot they've ignored for too long. The power trip is over. The mask is slipping. And now, they're glitching under the weight of their own void. You need to understand how powerful your detachment was. You weren't just walking away from toxicity. You were severing a life support system they built around draining you. And now that you're gone, they're not just alone. They're unhooked. And it's showing. Look closely. Their spark is dim, their health is off, their behavior is erratic. That's not coincidence. That's withdrawal. They used to laugh at your sensitivity. They mocked your reactions. They called you too much, when in reality, you were their supply. And now the tables have turned. You're calm, you're clearer, you're rising, and they're falling apart in silence, craving the chaos they once used against you. So if you ever feel guilty for cutting them off, don't. That wasn't cruelty, that was survival. You weren't breaking them, you were refusing to keep holding them up. There's a difference. Let their sickness remind you of one thing. Your energy was never small. It was never weak. It was powerful enough to sustain someone who was secretly crumbling the whole time. And now, without it, they're exposed. To themselves, to life, to the consequences of building their strength by draining yours. Let that sink in. Chosen one, keep your distance, keep your peace, keep that cord cut. Because your silence is doing what your words never could. It's revealing the truth. And the truth is, they weren't just toxic, they were dependent. Now they're unraveling, and this time, it has nothing to do with you. You were never the chaos, you were the clarity. And now that you're gone, they're starving for a dose of energy they'll never get again. Number 4. What they threw at you is now living in them, and it's not leaving. They touched fire, now it's living in their bones. They didn't just cross the line, they absorbed everything poisonous they threw at you, and now it's leaking through their pores. My dear chosen ones, what they're battling right now isn't just some freak illness. It's not random, it's not inherited, it didn't just happen. What you're witnessing is the aftershock of a trade they made in secret, and the price of that trade is now being collected. Let's call it what it is: contamination. They didn't just lie on your name, they didn't just plot behind the scenes, they didn't just slander or sabotage, they made a deal, a dirty one. And the currency they used? Integrity, humanity, energy. And what they received in return was cheap power, temporary illusion, and false control. But here's the catch. The moment they did it, they opened a door they can't close. No, they didn't wake up with illness one day out of nowhere. Their body didn't just break on its own. What's happening now is the slow decay of a spirit poisoned by intention. They've fed their system with deception, and now it's reacting. Their lies were the first infection. The manipulation was a virus. The betrayal, that was the final contamination. Now their energy is eating itself alive, and they're wearing the symptoms in silence. And chosen one, you need to know this: your healing is making it worse for them. Every time you grow, every time you glow, every step you take away from the trauma they created, you shine a spotlight on what they did. Your strength makes their weakness undeniable. Your rise makes their fall look even more tragic. You are the proof that energy never lies. See, you weren't just another person in their path. You were chosen. You were energetically aligned in a way they didn't understand, so they underestimated it. They thought you'd crumble. They thought your silence meant defeat. But what they failed to see was that your calm was calculated. Your detachment wasn't weakness, it was protection. And now they're sitting in the energy they birthed, choking on their own residue and calling it bad luck. Let's get brutally real. This isn't punishment. This is contamination. They poured their darkness into situations meant for peace. They turned love into control. They turned loyalty into leverage. And the energy they used to weaponize those moments is now folding back into their own nervous system. Every part of them is trying to maintain the mask, but the body doesn't lie. The breakdown has already started. They might be blaming genetics, stress, workload, weather, but you and I both know it's none of that. This sickness didn't start in the body, it started in their choices. And now the weight of those choices is showing up in test results, sleepless nights, and constant unexplained fatigue. Their soul made a mess. Their ego tried to cover it, but their body is tired of keeping the secret. The scariest part for them? You've become their mirror. Not the version of you they tried to distort, the real you. The grounded, elevated, healing version of you that shines light on every dark move they made. They can't scroll past your name, can't hear about your wins, can't look at your smile without feeling the infection they tried to dump on you return to sender. Chosen one, understand. You're not watching karma. You're watching a slow breakdown engineered by the very energy they used to try and break you. You were the trigger, but they were the weapon, aimed at you, but firing in reverse. They contaminated themselves with their own behavior, and because they've never owned it, never confessed it, never cleaned it up, it's festered. It's built up in their cells, their joints, their gut, their breath. It's the weight of unspoken guilt turning into physical pressure. And the body, over time, always collapses under what the mind tries to suppress. They'll keep pretending, of course, that nothing's wrong, that their glow is still authentic, that their grind is still healthy. But behind those forced laughs and edited posts is someone exhausted from holding up a lie their spirit can't support anymore. This is the cost of contamination. When the energy you send is built on harm, manipulation, or jealousy, it doesn't just hurt someone else. It lives in you, and it stays until you own it. But they won't, because owning it would mean admitting they were never the victim. They were the architect of their own destruction. So let them perform, let them pretend. Their body's already testifying. You don't need revenge, you don't need a front row seat. What they unleashed is now hosting a residency inside their own life, and it's not leaving. Not until they do the one thing they'll never do, face themselves. So rise, chosen one. Keep healing, not just for you, but because your healing is their judgment. Your peace is the reflection they can't escape. And the next time you wonder if life keeps track of unseen betrayal, just remember, their sickness is the slow confession of everything they hoped no one would ever see. Number 5. Their bodies falling apart. Because their mouth never told the truth. Their bodies telling on them because their mouth never will. When guilt is too heavy for the mind to carry, the body starts limping under the weight. My dear chosen ones, let's strip the mask off this situation completely, what they're going through right now. That slow, creeping pain they can't explain, that fatigue that clings to them no matter how much rest they get, that weird cycle of doctor visits and unanswered questions. It's not random, it's not unfortunate genetics, it's not just stress. That's guilt, trapped in the system. And their body is now the one writing the confession they'll never speak aloud. They'll never tell you the truth. They'll never sit you down and say, I lied about you. They'll never admit, I sabotaged you because I was jealous of what you carried. You will never hear them whisper, I tried to tear you down because you reminded me of everything I failed to become. That level of honesty would require a humility they simply don't have. So instead, the truth leaks out through migraines, through tension they can't stretch away, through panic attacks in the middle of the night that no one sees. The mouth lies, but the body never does. You've probably seen it. They still post, they still smile, they still move through the world like everything is great. But if you look closer, the glow's gone. The eyes are dimmer, the laugh is more forced, the timing is off, and it's not age, it's not bad luck. It's decay from the inside out. It's their own nervous system sending out distress signals that even they don't fully understand. They're unraveling, but it's quiet, controlled, private. That's how guilt operates when it has no outlet. It doesn't scream, it strangles. You ever wonder why some people seem to be always dealing with one issue after another, but nothing makes sense medically? One week it's fatigue, next week it's inflammation, then digestive issues, then headaches. It keeps morphing, keeps hiding, because the real root isn't in the body, it's in the spirit. It's shame with no exit. And chosen one, the reason it's showing up now is because they violated something they can't undo. They targeted you, and that energy is still trying to correct itself. You didn't need to expose them. You didn't need revenge. You didn't need to drag their name through the mud. Their own biology is doing the talking now. This is the confession they'll never say out loud. They may think they're keeping it all under control, but their body is leaking truth through every symptom. It's the unspoken sentence for the wrongs they buried instead of owning. And no, this isn't punishment. This is alignment. When someone causes harm to a person who walks in purpose, who operates with intention and clarity, it disturbs their own internal balance. The body knows, the subconscious knows. And when the mind tries to override the truth, the body steps in and makes sure that truth is still heard, whether they like it or not. They can post about peace. They can slap on quotes about healing and growth. But peace isn't a caption. And real wellness isn't something you can fake, especially not when you're hiding the weight of what you did to someone who only ever offered you light. And you, chosen one, that's exactly what you were, light. They mistook your empathy for weakness, your silence for softness, your boundaries for ego. But now Now the absence of your energy is exposing the sickness of theirs. You might feel a twinge of guilt yourself sometimes, wondering, am I wrong for feeling relief? Let me answer that for you. No, you're not celebrating their downfall. You're witnessing accountability. You're seeing the weight of what they did finally hit them in a way that can't be denied or dismissed. This isn't about being petty. This is about being real. Energy always finds its level, and theirs, it sank. They'll never connect the dots out loud, not to you, not to their circle, maybe not even to themselves, because acknowledging the source of the sickness would mean acknowledging what they did to you. And they're not built for that level of honesty. So they'll blame stress, they'll say it's work, they'll pretend it's just something going around. But deep down, in those moments when it's just them and the mirror, they know. Maybe not with words, but with feeling, with dread, with that pit in their stomach that won't go away. And it's not going away because their body's the only one being honest now. So stand tall, chosen one. Don't question your intuition. Don't shrink to make others comfortable. You didn't cause this, but you're witnessing the consequences of someone who tried to destroy what they couldn't understand. And now, while they crumble behind a curated life, you rise in authenticity, healed, whole, and finally free from the weight they thought would break you. Let their body keep talking. You already said everything you needed to, with your growth. Number 6. They flaunted their glow. Now that same glow is flickering out. They flaunted the crown. Now it's crushing their head. Some people turn their blessings into weapons, but when the applause fades, the same spotlight starts burning their skin. My dear chosen ones, remember this. Anybody can look strong when you're the one falling apart. And some people, they made an art form out of it. One of your attackers once strutted through life like their body was a trophy, like their glow was untouchable, like health meant they were superior. And you were just the messy one, the tired one, the overly sensitive one, struggling to hold it together. But let's not rewrite history. You remember it clearly. The slick comments, the backhanded compliments, the way they leaned into their good health like it was a flex against your pain. They smiled harder when you were silent. They stood taller when you were collapsing. They weren't just healthy. They weaponized it. Their clear skin, perfect posture, over-the-top I feel amazing energy wasn't just pride. It was performance. It wasn't just about how they felt. It was about how small they could make you feel by comparison. They turned your vulnerability into their platform. Your bad day became their good mood. Your struggle became their ego boost. And they needed it, not because they were confident, but because without comparison, they had nothing to stand on. Their identity was built on making you the broken one. But chosen ones, let me tell you what's happening now. The same body they flaunted is starting to betray them, slowly, quietly, cruelly. The glow, gone. The bounce in their step, replaced by stiffness, tension, and exhaustion. They used to brag about how nothing ever got to them. Now everything is. The immune system they once praised is now glitching. Their energy is leaking through the cracks they worked so hard to cover. And here's the kicker. They're panicking, but still pretending. You won't see it on their stories. You won't hear it from their lips, but it's there, in their eyes, in their hesitation, in the silence between their social media noise. The body that once gave them a twisted sense of control is now the same body humbling them, publicly. Not with drama, but with undeniable creeping decline. And isn't that poetic? Not because you wished it on them, not because you needed revenge, but because they made the mistake of tying their worth to your struggle. They danced when you stumbled, they cheered when you cried. They misused their moment of strength, not to uplift, but to dominate. And now, that same strength is fading right in front of them, and they're choking on the very pride they once weaponized. Let me remind you, real power doesn't need an audience. Real confidence doesn't shine brighter just because someone else is dimmed. But they didn't know that. They believed the illusion that their outer health meant inner superiority. They thought they were above consequence. But energy always checks the receipts. And right now, their body is paying the tab for all the ways they belittled yours. Chosen ones, this is your fuel. Not for bitterness, but for breakthrough. You don't need to post your healing journey with a smile for the people who tried to bury you. Your peace is loud enough. You don't have to outglow them. You've already outgrown them. While they're chasing filters and flattering angles to hide what's falling apart, you're doing the real work, rebuilding yourself from the inside out. And no, this isn't about karma in the religious sense. This is raw, universal balance. When someone uses what they have to harm instead of help, that gift becomes the stage for their downfall. That's not drama, that's justice, silent, clean, and irreversible. What makes this part so brutal for them is that they know, they feel it, deep in their bones. This isn't stress, this isn't diet, this isn't seasonal fatigue, this is decay. This is accountability showing up in lab results. This is energy screaming through symptoms, but they won't say it out loud, because if they did, they'd have to admit you were never the weak one. They'd have to admit they used your pain as a ladder, and now it's crumbling beneath them. So let it play out. Keep your hands clean and your spirit focused. You didn't need to drag them down. Their own misuse of power is doing that just fine. And if you ever feel that flicker of doubt, if you ever wonder whether walking away was enough, remember this: they're still trying to look whole while their foundation is collapsing. And you're rising with quiet fire. They used to walk like they were made of gold, but now the shine's wearing off, and underneath it all, they're just someone who turned their body into a billboard for false superiority. And now they can't stop the billboard from peeling. Chosen ones, stay grounded. Stay aligned. The very thing they used to mock you is now mocking them in the mirror, and no matter how they try to hide it, decline never lies. Number 7. This isn't karma. It's a takeover they unknowingly invited in. They opened the door, and now the darkness won't leave. This isn't karma doing laps. It's something darker moving in, one symptom, one breakdown, one sleepless night at a time. Chosen ones, let's not sugarcoat what you're witnessing right now. That person who once came for you with knives wrapped in smiles, they're not just off. They're not just having a rough patch. What's happening to them is deeper, colder, and far more consuming than a string of bad luck or a minor health issue. You're not watching karma tap them on the shoulder. You're watching something take over, slowly, quietly, legally. Because when someone repeatedly chooses harm, spite, jealousy, manipulation, and betrayal, especially against someone like you, they don't just make a bad decision. They send out an invitation, not on paper, not with words, but with action, with intent, with energy. They open a door, and what walks through doesn't knock. It just enters and makes itself at home. You've felt it, haven't you? You've sensed the shift in them, the change in their eyes, their tone, their presence. It's not just that they're sick. It's that they've become unrecognizable, heavier, colder, like something inside them has been replaced, and that's because it has. The same energy they tried to unleash on you is now living in them, feeding off them, taking its time. And the most disturbing part? It feels justified in doing so. Because they gave it permission with every secret they thought they buried, with every intention they aimed at you from the shadows, with every cruel word they spoke when no one was watching. That wasn't just spite, that was a contract. And now it's being cashed in. This isn't punishment, chosen one. This is what happens when someone keeps violating energy laws like they don't exist. When they use manipulation like currency and treat other people's peace like it's theirs to destroy, something notices. And when there's no remorse, no accountability, no internal pause, that something doesn't just observe, it enters. They are no longer in control of their own mind, body, or spirit the way they used to be. They're trying to act like everything's the same, but their nervous system knows. Their reactions are sharper. Their focus is off. Their emotions are on a constant loop. They're drained but can't sleep, surrounded but feel alone. And none of it adds up, because the cause isn't physical, it's energetic. It's the result of being hollowed out from the inside. You may be wondering, how did they fall this far? They used to be so composed, so clever, so in control. And that's the point. The thing they once controlled, the game, the manipulation, the image, is now what's controlling them. That energy they used like a weapon, it's now running the show. Piece by piece, thought by thought, it's feeding off the very vessel that summoned it. This is why you see the paranoia. The mood swings, the distancing, the social media silence, the fake positivity that doesn't match the eyes, because they're fighting something they can't name. And the scariest part, they won't tell a soul, because telling would mean confessing, and confessing would mean admitting they did something wrong, that they broke something sacred, that they aimed harm at someone who was never even in the fight. They'll go to specialists, they'll change their diet, they'll chase wellness like it's hiding under a supplement bottle, but nothing's working, because the sickness isn't in their body, it's in what's attached to it. The energy isn't going anywhere until the truth is owned. And let's be honest, they're not built for that level of truth, not yet. So instead, they perform, they pretend, they paste smiles over exhaustion, they force calm over chaos. But the energy doesn't care about the act. It's not leaving, because it was welcomed. And now that it's in, it's not going to exit until it's taken its toll. My dear chosen ones, this isn't about wishing harm. This is about recognizing power, yours. Your energy didn't just survive, it triggered revelation. You didn't have to retaliate, because their own choices brought the storm to their doorstep. And now they're living with a presence they can't name, symptoms they can't explain, and an unease that won't loosen its grip. Let that motivate you. Let that remind you who you are. Not a victim, a mirror, one that reflects truth so powerfully it exposes what people try to hide, even from themselves. They didn't just attack you, they awakened the consequences. They signed their name on energy that doesn't forget, and now it's collecting. Slowly, legally, energetically. So walk in peace, chosen one. Their unraveling isn't yours to fix. Their battle isn't your burden. You saw the storm coming long before the first thunder rolled. Now you're just watching the clouds do what they do. And they're not just sick, they're occupied. Number 8. Pride has them smiling for the world while dying behind the curtain. They'd rather die with a mask than heal with the truth. You can fake confidence for the crowd, but the body always exposes what the ego tries to hide. My dear chosen ones, this part is going to be hard for some people to swallow, but not for you, because you're built to see beneath the surface. And what you're sensing right now about one of your former attackers, it's not paranoia. It's not petty, it's precision. You're watching someone unravel behind closed doors, and they're working overtime to make sure no one sees it. Not because they're strong, but because their pride is bigger than their pain. Let's be real. Some people would rather collapse behind the scenes than ever admit they were wrong out loud. That's what you're witnessing. This isn't just someone going through a rough patch. This is someone rotting in real time, spiritually, emotionally, and yes, physically, all because they refuse to face the truth, that they hurt someone who never meant them harm, that they crossed a line so deeply, so viciously, that even their body has now joined in the verdict. And still, they keep pretending. They show up with forced laughs, stiff smiles, and too much positivity that tastes fake if you really listen. But you can see it. You've always been able to see it. The weight in their eyes, the weird stiffness in how they move, the agitation in their voice that wasn't there before. It's not just stress, it's the body screaming what their mouth refuses to say. I messed up, I went too far, and now I'm paying for it. But saying that out loud would require a level of self-awareness they just don't have. Or maybe they do, and just can't survive the taste of that truth. Because for people like this, people fueled by ego, by appearances, by the obsession with always being right, the truth feels like a death sentence. Not physical death, but the death of the image they've crafted so carefully. The persona, the mask, the illusion that they're untouched, unbothered, and invincible. Chosen ones, you were never just a target to them. You were a mirror. And instead of healing what they saw reflected, they tried to shatter the mirror. But now, every piece they broke off is cutting back into them, slowly, quietly, repeatedly. And the worst part, they still won't stop the bleeding. Because to do that, they'd have to admit the wound exists, and their ego won't let them. So here they are, sitting in doctors' offices, getting scans, Googling symptoms at 2 a.m., wondering why nothing is working, wondering why the meds don't hit, why the pain comes in waves, why the fatigue won't lift. And deep down, they know. They won't say it, but they know. The body remembers what the mouth tried to bury. The soul is tired of holding the lie. This isn't about sickness anymore. This is about silence becoming poison. Every time they choose the mask over the truth, the illness gets tighter. Every time they deny they're wrong, the body leans in and whispers louder. Every time they try to smile through it, the symptoms return stronger. Because they don't need another prescription. They need permission to admit they were wrong, and they won't take it. That's the trap of pride. It doesn't just keep you from healing. It convinces you that fake strength is more valuable than real freedom. And that's what they've chosen. Instead of apologizing, instead of owning what they did, they doubled down on the performance. They still want the world to believe they're ahead, even while their body is falling apart behind the curtain. Chosen ones, don't be fooled. Their silence isn't peace, it's panic in disguise. Their unbothered vibe isn't growth, it's guilt in a new outfit. And their smile, it's makeup layered over a festering wound that's refusing to close. They're not strong, they're stuck. And the clock is ticking louder every day. And here's the truth they'll never say out loud. They know they're running out of time. They feel the consequences crawling in. They hear it in their chest, feel it in their sleep, notice it in the mirror. But instead of humbling themselves, instead of reaching out, instead of fixing what they broke, they choose silence, again and again and again. But silence has a cost, and for them, that cost is everything. Their energy is drained. Their joy is hollow. Their body is a battlefield between who they pretend to be and the guilt that won't go away. Every missed call, every cancelled plan, every odd, I'm just not feeling well, it's all adding up. And still, they choose the mask. Because in their mind, dying proud still feels safer than living honest. Let that be your fuel, chosen ones. Not because you want to see them fall, but because you need to remember how powerful you really are. You didn't fight them, you didn't curse them, you didn't even expose them. But the truth is exposing them now, and that truth is heavy. So while they collapse in silence, you keep rising in clarity. You keep healing, keep building, keep walking like the storm never touched you, because it couldn't. What tried to crush you is now crushing them, and they don't even have the courage to say your name out loud. That's not ego, that's evidence. And the collapse? It's already in motion. Number 9. They mocked your collapse. Now they're trapped in one with no exit. They laughed while you broke. Now their mind is the punchline. Mocking someone in their lowest moment is easy, until life lowers the volume on your sanity and leaves you stuck with the same silence you once laughed at. My dear chosen ones, let's talk about those who giggled when your world fell apart. You remember them. The ones who turned your anxiety into a side comment, your breakdown into gossip, your struggle into fuel for their superiority. While you were barely holding yourself together, they were sipping coffee and smirking behind your back, calling you dramatic, broken, unstable. They didn't understand your pain, and worse, they didn't want to. They dismissed it, minimized it, turned it into entertainment like your suffering was a reality show they could watch, laugh at, then walk away from. But now, that same show is playing in their own head, and they're the only audience left. No big explosions, no sudden fall from grace, just a slow, silent disintegration of everything they once thought made them better than you. Their mind is unraveling, thread by thread. They wake up exhausted, but can't sleep through the night. Their thoughts won't turn off. Their nerves are on edge. But do you hear about it? Number. They trained the world to see them as the strong one, the together one, the nothing bothers me type. And now they're trapped in that performance, choking on the mask they created while your name was in their mouth. This isn't coincidence. This is energy correcting itself. This is what happens when someone makes a sport out of someone else's suffering. You were in the pit, and instead of offering a hand, they pointed and laughed. They thought your breakdown made them superior. They thought your tears were weakness, your silence was guilt, your instability was chaos. But now they know your breakdown wasn't weakness. It was pressure, growth, transformation. It was the fallout of carrying what most people would have collapsed under. And now that it's their turn, they're finding out just how suffocating that space really is. Chosen one, let's be real. They never expected this moment. In their mind, you were supposed to stay broken. You were supposed to stay down, stuck, drowning in emotions, while they floated on the illusion of balance. But what they didn't realize is that fake peace doesn't last forever. When your power comes from mocking others, life eventually hands you a taste of your own cruelty. And it doesn't come loud. It comes creeping in, slow, personal, in the form of thoughts that won't stop spinning and emotions they can't escape. Now they smile in public, just like you did when you were trying to hold it together. But behind the scenes, their mind is eating itself alive. Every "I'm fine" is a lie. Every post, every smile, every overcompensated performance, all of it is staged to cover a reality that's cracking beneath their feet. And here's the kicker. They remember what they said about you. Every joke, every judgment, every eye roll. It echoes now, louder than the panic, louder than the fatigue, louder than their silence. Because deep down, they know exactly what this is. They laughed when it was you. Now they're living it, and there's no one left to laugh with them. You might ask yourself, do they even realize what's happening? Oh, they do. Not out loud, not where anyone else can hear, but they feel it. In the pit of their stomach, in the pounding in their chest at 2 a.m., in the exhaustion that doesn't match their effort. They know something's wrong, but their ego won't let them admit it. Just like they once accused you of faking your pain, they now fake their peace. And they do it well, but not for long. Because when the breakdown is real, there's no script to stick to. Eventually, the cracks spread. The silence that once humiliated you is now the silence haunting them. The same loneliness they watched you drown in is now climbing up their spine. And the irony? They can't even ask for help, because asking would mean admitting what they did. It would mean confessing that your breakdown was real, that your pain was valid, that they were wrong. So instead, they sit in it, quietly. In a room full of noise, their thoughts are louder. In a life full of people, they feel isolated. Their mind, once so smug, so sure, so clean, is now a maze they can't navigate. This isn't revenge, chosen ones. This is justice that doesn't need an audience. Let this empower you, because your breakdown didn't break you, it revealed you. It stripped away the noise and forced you to rebuild, stronger, deeper, real. And now you're rising from what they used to mock. While they're spiraling in silence, held hostage by the very mindset they used to judge you with. That's the thing about poetic justice. It doesn't slam doors. It slowly locks the ones people thought they'd never need to walk through again. And now that they're banging on those doors, looking for a way out of their own unraveling, they realize you were never the weak one. You were just ahead of them on the path they didn't think they'd ever have to walk. So rise, chosen one, and don't look back. Their laughter was never power, it was projection. And now they finally understand what pain feels like when it knocks quietly and doesn't leave. No spotlight, no audience, just them, their thoughts, and everything they used to mock staring back at them in the mirror. And as we bring this full circle, remember this: what was once mocked in you is now manifesting in them. The silence they used to judge you is the silence that's now suffocating them. Chosen ones, you didn't need revenge. Your growth became the loudest response. So keep rising, keep glowing, keep healing louder than they ever laughed. If this message spoke to your spirit, show love. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, drop 77 in the comments if you felt that shift, and share this with someone who needs to be reminded. Energy always returns to its sender.